At Firehouse Subs, a portion of every purchase helps provide life-saving equipment to first responders. We make our subs differently because our subs can make a difference every day. That's why we're bringing back our daily medium sub special. Enjoy a different handcrafted medium sub at a special price for every day of the week. From Meatball Monday to Italian Sunday. Get it for a limited time, only at Firehouse Subs. Tap the banner now to start your pickup order.
Welcome to Women Winning Divorce with your host, Heather Quick. Heather brings over 20 years of law experience that advocates and empowers women to achieve happier and healthier lives. Each week, we provide knowledge and guidance on different aspects of family law to help lead women through the difficult and emotional legal challenges that they are facing. Listen in as she discusses issues including divorce, custody, alimony, paternity, narcissism, mediation, and other family law issues to provide insight on the journey of women winning divorce. Welcome to the show. I'm Julie Morgan, and I'm joined by your host, Heather Quick. Hi, Heather. How are you today?
I am great, Julie. How are you?
You know, I'm making it. You know, it's a Tuesday here when we're recording the show, and I am just happy that it's not Monday.
Well, that is good. You got to look for the positive, right?
There you go. There you go. That's what I'm talking about, Heather. See, you understand me. It's not Monday. So I'm just happy about that. Mondays are a struggle, and I know I'm not the only one out there. So today's show is about empowering women, and I can tell everyone right now I'm going to have a problem with that word, so just look out for it. Tell me this, what does this mean to Florida Women's Law Group?
Well, to me, I'll tell you what it means, and to everybody, at our firm, it is making women stronger and more confident, but it's really about winning at life. And that's what I see that we do at Florida Women's Law Group. We're helping women win at life, and we're giving you the strength that needs for you to win at your life.
We've got to dive deeper into that throughout this show, because that to me has so many different levels.
Yes.
So why would clients need this? Why would they need something like this?
Well, I think that when women come to us, they need help, and they're about to enter this whole new world, like the legal world. It's scary. It can be scary. It has a lot of its own language, procedures, it's just very different. So that in and of itself is something that can be daunting. And they're like, okay, I have no understanding of the legal process. And then they're like, and now I am going to embark on single life, whether, I've got the kids at home or not, but either way, it's going to be a huge change. And I'm nervous. Like, do I have the confidence to keep doing this? How am I going to do it? How is my life going to look on that other side? And a lot of it is, and this is for any of us, doing something that we haven't done before, we don't know what we don't know. So that's scary in and of itself, because I don't even know what to ask, because I don't know enough about the whole process. So that's a lot of fear and doubt that can really stall you out and keep you from moving forward.
And so you just, but well, okay. I was trying to figure out how to approach this next question, but when we're talking about empowering women, it can mean different things to different people. So there are some clients that they've been married a long time. They haven't been on their own. So that could be one thing. But then there are some that may be young and they haven't been married long, so they understand where they're going. So this could mean different things to different people.
It really does. I think that regardless of where your situation is, you're about to embark on something new that is scary, that could be intimidating, but you want it, you're wanting to move forward. And the women who tend to resonate with what we do at Florida Women's Law Group is they're looking for that strength to help them through this process. And that is what we're here to do is to give them that strength and help them definitely reframe the way they're looking at what they're about to go through. And that's why I say helping them win at life. I'm really competitive person, and even when other people aren't competing, I'm competing. So that, that's got its own negatives for sure and challenges for myself. But it is something that people do understand. They do understand, hey, winning. And when you can win, and it doesn't mean somebody else has to lose when you reframe it like that. And so now I can go win at life because I can take these steps forward for myself. Even though I'm scared, I'm still willing to do it. And that's a win in and of itself, that you're willing to take these steps forward, even though, hey, this may be challenging, but I'm going to grow from it. Because anytime we do things that are challenging, we do grow. We learn more about ourselves and our own resilience and what we can accomplish. And that is a win. And that allows women to really reach their full potential as individuals, as mothers, and, really as human beings out there in the world. And hopefully, to show up better, in their next relationship, or in their overall relationships with friends and family.
So you work on helping them to get rid of fear and self-doubt.
To some extent, but we all approach that within our own unique ways. And one way that I think is very helpful is, by educating and helping, hey, this is the process that is coming. And sometimes, so that's kind of really just laying out, this is what's coming. This is going to be the reality. This is the truth of your situation, which may be difficult to hear. And that sometimes is for anybody, to hear the truth of the situation that they're currently in and what their options are. And then we can say, but we can get you through this. And, if you want to get through this and be successful, I'm going to say this, with a caveat, but that not everybody does want to be successful. Some people want to stay a victim. That's not really somebody probably who fits in with our model at our firm, because if you're wanting to remain blaming everyone else and not really stepping up into who you can be, the things that we're going to do for you at our firm you're not going to appreciate, because you don't want to do that. And that may or may not be a conscious decision, but I think we've all met individuals in our lives, men and women included, that they don't really want to step into that because that requires some change.
So would you say that person would not necessarily be a good fit for you?
That is correct, because that's not what we do at our firm. And there are, all I can say, I can't speak to other firms and law firms except from my outside looking in perspective of working with other firms in the past, and potentially they take on more of a paternalistic, it's going to be okay, you just go through the process and we're going to take care of it for you. That is more of an old school, and there are other firms probably that do that, and that's really not the way we operate, because our attorneys, as all women, are strong, definitely compassionate, but we're looking to make you better than you were when you got there. And the only way to do that is for you to take some responsibility for your life and your actions, and move forward with this change in your life.
That's a good segue into my next question. Tell me about your firm. Tell me about the women that work there.
Well, we have amazing very intelligent women that work for our firm. We really have women of all ages, and married, single, divorced, mothers, new mothers, women with older children, and some just, you know, dog and cat parents. They come to it from all different experiences in life, but the one thing we all have in common is that one, they're very smart women, and also compassionate but tough, because you got to have that, like, we're not the firm you come here and we're just gonna console you the whole time. That's not going to get us anywhere, frankly, and that is my personal belief in, but hey, sometimes it's difficult and you are emotional. We're not going to yell at you and tell you to stop crying, but we are going to say, all right, we have to move through, because you got to move forward to get through that. And again, that's why we, always suggest counseling, that we counsel, but we're on the legal side, more so than the, therapeutic mental health side.
But being a firm of all women, I would say from the outside looking in, people would probably look and say, oh, yes, they're going to coddle you.
Yeah, and that doesn't happen. And we make that very clear in the beginning, that this is, by doing that, we're not helping you at all. And I don't think you'll be happy at the end anyway, because if you don't participate in what we're doing for you to create your new life, you may not like it. That may not be what you want. So you have to participate. And we, yes, are compassionate and empathetic. And there may be times that, you need that. But there's also times when you do need to say, all right, it's time to suck it up, and we've got to move forward. And we've got to move forward through this fear that is not a reality.
So this is not for everyone.
No, 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 no. I think the majority of women that we see are ready and they want this, but some just want to remain a victim, and some don't want to take personal responsibility for what we need them to do. I mean, we're not going to dissect the marriage and talk about who did what. That is really irrelevant to the extent of getting through the divorce. Every now and then there are certain things that are helpful, but if all you want to do is blame and create havoc for your husband during the divorce, that may actually harm you in the long run. And if you can't see that and not willing to listen to our advice on how best to get you to the finish line and to the outcome that you've expressed, then no, we're not going to be able to work together, because that makes no sense. If we create that strategy to help you achieve your outcome, which we say, that's where I say that's where you win. Like, if this is what you want and we get you there, then you've won what you wanted for your life. But if you do things that are destructive for that, or you're not willing to, that tends not to be a good fit, because you're just not going to be happy. And we can't achieve your results if you're not willing to do what we need you to do, in order to get there. And so that can happen sometimes. It doesn't happen often, but it certainly does.
But you know what? It's something I can appreciate, because that means that you are not wasting my time.
Right. And I sometimes, well, not sometimes, I think more often than not, we care more about our clients' future and what is possible for them than maybe they do.
But is it because you can see it? Because when someone comes to your office, they may not even be able to see their future. But because you've been doing it so long, you can see where they can go.
Correct. And I mean, I do have that flaw in my personality. I always see the potential and the possibility for all humans, and they may not want that, and they may not want that much, growth or whatever, but we are objective. We've seen this so many times, and we, humans, and they act in predictable ways, and we can see certain things and we can see what's possible for people. So yes, we have that unique ability because we can be more objective because we're on the outside looking in. And it it's more challenging when you're on the inside. And maybe you're not there yet, and you're certainly not going to be there at the very beginning. That's hard. You're kind of consumed with the emotion and just the overall everything of what's going on. So that is to be expected. But if that's what you want to see and you want to get there, then we can get you there.
Mm, that's definitely not a flaw at all, Heather. You're listening to Women Winning Divorce with Heather Quick, owner and attorney of Florida Women's Law Group. Today, we're talking about empowering women and what it means to Florida Women's Law Group. And when we return, we're going to talk about being a victim. Stay with us. Welcome back to Women Winning Divorce with Heather Quick, owner and attorney of Florida Women's Law Group. Heather, in the first segment of the show, you talked about being a victim. What exactly does that mean?
Well, I think that there's a lot of ways to look at it, but I think that is, and everybody, I think, myself included, we've all had tendencies and we've done that, but it's at times, but it's something you want to move through. It's not taking personal responsibility for where you are in life. It's blaming others, and we have a choice, and you can choose to see life happening for you or life happening to you. And I think that if you are in a victim mentality and a state of mind, life happens to you.
And do some people look at this or they may listen to this and say, "Oh, she's being harsh. That's harsh."
And that's fair. Yeah. But I sometimes the truth is harsh, and I'm not here to fluff it up. I believe that, that we can, I believe we all have more choices than maybe some people want to believe that they have. And there's a time to have a pity party, and then you got to move on. You're never going to get anywhere in life if that's the way you kind of feel sorry for yourself and, I can't change my life. It may be hard. It's definitely harder for some people than others. There's no doubt about that. I'm not going to diminish anybody's challenges and things that may make things harder for some than others, but maybe look at the actions people take throughout their life that do lead to consequences. Actions, then you have consequences. And so maybe right now you see everything against you, but okay, you made a lot of choices and there are a lot of consequences and results of those choices. So it may take longer to get yourself out of that and begin to start, empowering yourself and seeing where you can make new choices.
But it's so much easier to blame him, right?
Absolutely. And it's, I mean, I guess so, that's it's easier to blame, but really then you carry this bitter, angry kind of feelings and miserable. And I think that's a lot harder to carry, so much anger and resentment around, than to forgive and move on. I think it's challenging, and maybe not, well, not maybe, and not, it's not always pretty to look in the mirror and look at you and your part in your life that got you to where you are today. That is difficult, but it's worth it. And it takes time, and it takes a lot of, humility probably, and just like looking at yourself and going, ugh, okay, what if I show up different? Will I have different results? Most likely.
And you may not realize that being a victim, it actually takes your power away.
Well, and then, but I'm going to challenge you on those words, because you gave it away. You're giving it away, and that's your choice. Nobody has power over you unless you allow that to happen. And somebody could be listening to this going, "Oh, Heather, you don't understand. I may not. I'm not living in your shoes, but you're giving that away. Nobody has power over you unless you give that to them. You give people the power to hurt your feelings. You can give people the power to offend you. You are totally in control of your emotions, and you have within yourself your own power. If you choose to give that away, then you do. And I think that's where that personal responsibility and in the language of that, and what we will accept as, oh, but he takes, he does this or that. I think that that's where you kind of let somebody off easy. If they want to go through life believing that, then that's their choice.
So it sounds like part of this is also reframing the way we speak, and also the way we think.
Yes, and that is something that it can happen overnight. If you are not around anyone and you haven't ever been exposed to individuals who talk like this may seem really new. I grew up always going to church. I have a faith. I had a grandmother who, she was really hardcore like this, like a devout Christian, but she's like, Heather, nobody take away your power. You know what? You can choose to be offended. Don't walk around here saying, oh, that's so offensive. So she spoke hard truth, and a lot of that was based on her faith. And then I've done a lot of other, work and coaching and stuff with Tony Robbins, and a lot of things that allow you to see, hey, where you can accept responsibility for yourself. So I think that you can hear this, and maybe if you've never been exposed or been around people who talk like that, or who, view the world in this way, it's going to I can see how that could seem very difficult and hard. And so that's maybe part of the first step, is find people who are more of glass half full type people. Find people in other sources of information and surrounding yourself that have more of a positive outlook on it. And I'm not saying that's fake. I'm saying just a genuine way to look at things and look at your own behavior. That is that would be a helpful first step, I think.
So basically, let's try to get away from those people who are bitter and miserable as much as you can.
Right, and recognizing it for what that is. Yes, for sure. Yeah.
But we all know someone like that. I mean, if we really think, we probably know someone just that feels that way about their divorce. It could have been a decade ago, but they are still bitter and miserable about it.
They are. They are. And yes. You see that, and you just they're bitter.
Yeah.
and they haven't been able to let go. And I know I find I may be around somebody like that, like, and not really know they're like that. And then I certainly am not going to willingly continue to be around those kind of people.
So, how do you move past it? How do you move past being a victim?
I think the first part is accepting responsibility for your part in your marriage. It takes two people to make it, two people to break it. And that is that's the first thing, that's the first thing that you have to do, expect, and analyze how you showed up in the marriage and how are you going to show up in the divorce. How do you want to just be in general? And it's self-reflection, and there are like so many books on that, I'm sure, and self-healing and all of this, and therapy, finding the right therapist that's not about blaming somebody else, but say, hey, I want to move past this, and this is where, how I want to get through this. There are, I think, a lot of resources that can allow you that opportunity to um begin that journey away from being a victim.
Now, Heather, you said accept responsibility. But if someone is listening to this and they'll say, well, he cheated, that's not my responsibility. What do you mean accept my responsibility? How is it that they have any responsibility in that?
Well, they do. And I don't know what that is, and that's for everybody to look at. No, you're not responsible for his actions. But within a relationship, and some things might have started really earlier on, I can't dissect all of those parts, and that's why this is the work. That's the work. And you know what? They may listen and be like, she's crazy. Well, I probably am. I do. I kind of go out there on a lot of things. But what I will tell you is that if you sit with that and maybe every day just think about a little bit more, I would bet that over time they're going to see areas where they played a part, you know? And maybe this, and I mean, this could sound way out there, maybe just because you turned the other way because it wasn't worth it. Okay, that's a part. That plays a part. Not in what he did. It's not his actions. It's you. It's the fact that you're in a divorce right now. Okay, was there an opportunity that it could have been repaired? I don't know. Was there an opportunity early on where the communication broke down before the intimacy? Maybe. I don't know. Again, it's that reflection that can be hard, but it's not going to come to you all at once, but over time. And I'm not a big journaler. I just recently bought a book that like prompts you with questions. I haven't started writing in it yet, so check back with me, maybe hold me accountable, Julie, and ask me like, have I started to journal? Because I know there's a lot of value in it, even though that's not my thing as of yet. Like, but I'm willing to evolve and try something to see what turns out of it. So maybe that's a way. Like, just sit with that and in 5 minutes a day in some meditation where you look at that. But that's a start, because that in and of itself, if you as a human are willing to even just sit with that and think about it, you really are ready taking the path. You don't want to be a victim.
But Heather, getting to the point where you are and understanding that you are playing the victim, that is that's a tough road. It has to be.
I think it really just depends on your experience, and the people you've been around, and who you have to advise you.
So how do you how do you share with a client You are playing the victim. Like, how do you say those words? I mean, for some people, they need to hear those words. You can't really beat around the bush. So, do you say those words? You're playing the victim, and we need to put on our big girl panties.
Um, yeah, I know those conversations happen, and sometimes they there's another way to reframe the question or the situation. I would rather the anyone I'm speaking to come to that on their own, and sometimes you can do that just by asking a question. Are you looking at this as from a place of strength or weakness? Are you looking at this as, someone who, is blameless, or, kind of like that? That tends to help, because to tell somebody and say you're doing this. Now that may happen at times. That sometimes doesn't resonate with all of us that well, right? Nobody likes to be like called out like that. We would rather come to that conclusion on our own. It seems a little less painful.
Yeah. So, you know what? I say that because for me, I need you to tell me the truth, right? I don't need someone to beat around the bush with me. I need someone to say, listen, this, and this, and then let me handle it within or with.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And there has to be other people out there that really need to hear those words. You're doing this, and it really needs to stop because it's detrimental.
And sometimes, yes, that is absolutely. Yeah, no, when it gets to that point and something's happening that is negatively affecting them, it's like, no, you got to stop this.
Yeah.
This is not effective. You got to cut it out, change your behavior, because you're taking it down a route that is gonna harm you more in the end.
You're listening to Women Winning Divorce with Heather Quick, owner and attorney of Florida Women's Law Group. When we return, again, we're still talking about how Florida Women's Law Group empowers women. We're going to talk more about how they can help. Stay with us. Welcome back to Women Winning Divorce with Heather Quick, owner and attorney of Florida Women's Law Group. Heather, so thinking about this, how can Florida Women's Law Group help?
Well, there are so many ways that we obviously interact with women as clients, as potential clients, and even former clients. And our primary role and goal is certainly to support women. And, you know, we ask that they first kind of forgive themselves, because it takes so long. It takes a lot of strength and courage to, one, decide you want a divorce, and then take the action steps that it requires in order to move forward.
Mm, that's important. I mean, you've mentioned that a couple of times. Forgive yourself. Why is that so necessary?
I think because until you can forgive yourself, I don't think you can move forward, and certainly forgive anyone else, and move from that position of being a victim in need of being rescued to somebody who is taking responsibility for her own life.
You know, it didn't take you very long to say what you said, but what you said was extremely powerful. From being a victim, that's something else that has come up multiple times in our conversation. And I know we've already gone through this. We've talked about this. So please, if you missed the first two segments of the show, I encourage you to go back and listen. Go to our website, Florida Women's Law Group. Excuse me. Go to our website. You can go to that website as well. But go to our website, womenwinningdivorce.com, so you can subscribe, download, and listen to the podcast. So Heather, what is the first step whenever they come to you? What is the first step?
So the first step is, they've made the decision they want a divorce, and, we've both decided, okay, we can work together as attorney and client. And then now the work really begins. And I know I said the hardest thing is making the decision. And so therefore, if you can look at it that way, is okay, now I made the decision. Now we're just taking steps for implementation. And that begins with one, a lot of times they're going to be in a position they have to educate themselves, and we will help them with that. And we will help them understand essentially what their financial situation is, if they don't already know it. And we do that through the financial affidavit, which we've talked about, of course, in previous episodes, as a key piece of evidence, and definitely a key pleading that has to be filed in all divorce cases.
Okay. And this can be a scary thing for women, right?
Sure. And really for anybody, I mean, you've got to look at, hey, what does it cost to run the life maybe we're running together? And now what will it cost me to run the life I want to live? Am I going to be able to do it? What am I spending on things? What is our debt? Sometimes the reason we have clients that don't know much is they don't want to. Once you have an understanding of your financial situation, you now have some responsibility, I think, and that's very natural in a lot of relationships. One person kind of opts out of that responsibility and knowledge as far as what's really going on.
Okay. So you really walk your clients through this process and educate them and encourage them. That's a big thing too.
Yeah, I mean, because that's what it is all about. And, we'll explain, because their husband has to file a financial affidavit as well. And, we help them look at it. Let's compare the two. Where's the, what's accurate? And, as part of that, sometimes, and not every case, do we need financial consultants or accountants, forensic accountants, but sometimes we do. And if we do, that's who we will recommend and bring in. And that can really help women feel so much stronger about their situation and maybe what they're going to do after the divorce with their investments and what that retirement looks like, that their portion of, and have an understanding and begin to create a plan for their future.
All right, you mentioned forensic accountant. That could be a show in itself because that sounds so interesting.
Very much so. It is. And there's a lot of areas where these accountants who not only have the knowledge, but they also they're experienced in family law and in testifying. So there's more to it. It's not just knowing accounting. It's also having an understanding of how they can help in your case. Sometimes we use them for alimony purposes. Sometimes we use them, a lot of the times we use them for business valuations, but then also like what out of the money that's there and what will be yours, hey, what income will it provide you?
That's interesting. Is that because, and I know I'm going off on something different, but is that because it's possible that, because when you think of forensic accounting, you kind of think of somebody tried to hide something from me, so then I need that person to go find it.
Yes, and that I think that is what most people think of initially. And yes, sometimes that's helpful, for their expertise in that. But a lot of times we are employing those forensic accountants as experts in the case, and nothing's been hidden. Well, that we're aware of. I mean, and they'll find it if in fact, that's needed.
Okay. Yeah. I like that. I want to hear more about that. But you know what? We're going to stay on topic today. So, okay, whenever someone walks in the door at Florida Women's Law Group, I like the way that you've said so many times that you are their advocate. And that's important for them to understand that.
Yes, that we are not only on their side, but going to really advocate for them to get the best settlement possible if we're able to settle, advocate for them in trial, of course, and just with the other side so that we, truly have their best interests at heart. That's our job. And yeah, we take that very seriously.
And trust that you have that. To me, that was the operative word in that sentence that you just said, the trust that you need to have, or that they need to have in their attorneys.
Yes, and that goes both ways. It's very important. So often we've heard in the past where somebody comes to us and they have an attorney, but they don't trust them anymore. And when that breaks down, that makes it difficult for an attorney to advocate on your behalf. But then also, they could be doing a great job, but if you've lost that confidence and that trust, it's very difficult
I can
to to understand or believe, hey, I'm in the right spot. So it is an important thing. And that's something that I can't really quantify except to explain it's important. And you need to be, on the same page as your attorney. Your attorney needs to be on the same page as you. And hey, many times that, that breaks down for some reason. And we work hard to not let that happen, certainly, but I mean, it's important. It is, I would say, the essential to your representation. Just like when you hire any professional, if you look at professional services as far as doctors, accountants, anyone, you got to have this level of trust that, okay, they are on my side, they've heard me, and we are going in the same direction.
Yeah, that is important. So I can imagine that when they come in, you ask a lot of questions. But how do those questions help you move forward with the case?
Well, if we know where you want to be or what's important to you in regards to your future and your children and your finances, then we have a direction. If we don't ask you these questions, we can't understand where you ultimately want to be. So, therefore, how can we develop a strategy, a roadmap to get you there? So, that is why we ask a lot of questions that maybe more so than others, because we do want to know, what and help you begin to think about it. You might not know the first day, but these are going to be conversations that will continue on during the representation so that we're able to, navigate in the right direction.
Let me ask you this, and I don't know if I've ever asked you this before, but when you ask the questions, do they sometimes feel like, oh, well, that's invasive?
I don't think so, because this is a pretty um I don't know if I would work, but it is. This is an invasive process. We're talking about a lot of things. This is your life.
Yeah.
Very personal discussions occur in attorneys' offices, particularly in this office of family law. So, I mean, we have some pretty open question. I mean, we're really trying to understand what is important to them.
Yeah, it gets really deep, right?
It does. It
Yeah,
does.
yeah. So, talk to me about some of the people on your staff that can really help the clients through their entire process.
Well, of course, we have our attorneys, paralegals, legal assistants, which are amazing. And they're, very communicative with our clients and work to provide a lot of education, direction, and strategy with them. We also have a client liaison that really does work, sometimes just to be an ear for our clients that they just need to talk to somebody, but it's not a legal question. And so, not that our attorneys, of course, don't, spend that time with them or those kinds of, conversations sometimes, but it's nice to know there's an additional person on our staff and she takes calls on the weekend, sometimes after hours, when maybe you're just the emotionality of things are getting to you and you need to talk to somebody. And then she's there. She doesn't answer legal questions and certainly, can make sure that the attorneys follow up, but it's just this extra layer for our clients for when they need it.
Tell me this. Okay, would your conversations or a client's conversations with her also be um, you know, personal, or what's the word I'm looking for, Heather?
Confidential.
Confidential.
Yes.
That one. Yeah,
Yes.
it's confidential for her as well.
Oh, absolutely. Everyone in our staff, everything that occurs in this office between any member of the staff and the client is completely confidential.
Okay, I didn't realize that. That's good, e- but it kind of baffles me because I'm thinking if she's not an attorney, I probably I feel like the client, they probably don't realize that it's also confidential. Or do you tell them that?
Well, we do tell them, we do, just so that they understand this is, and confidential. I will tell you from outside the office, because it's very important that, our client liaison is able to report to the attorneys, hi, I spoke with, our client Jane Doe today, and these are some issues she's having. And maybe even sometimes it's issues with the attorney that helps to have somebody that can recognize maybe there was a breakdown in communication or they misunderstood something. Lots of things can happen, of course. And so it's a wonderful person that does. They bridge the gap between you and the attorney when necessary. Not everybody, has as much need for that. And sometimes it's more in the beginning of the case when there's a little bit more fear going on with our clients, a little bit more of uncertainty.
Okay. All right, that makes sense. Now, after you've done a lot of empowering, again, that's that word that I can't say, but that's all right. I'm going to get through it. So you've done so much of that, helping them, regain their strength and helping them find themselves. Um, but the final decision, it really comes from them. You're not making any decisions for them, right?
Correct. At the end of the day, now there may come a time where the decision is going to be made by a judge,
Right.
but up until then, the strategy, we advise them on different things. Now, of course, we're going to be with them through that, give them the options, and then they're going to help decide which path we go. But yeah, I mean, that's why all this talk about empowerment and helping them, win at life, because they've got to make some decisions that they had not maybe made, well, definitely not made before. And so the whole process throughout this entire time is really helping them to get used to making decisions that ultimately they have to make, because they have to live with that settlement. Even if we say, hey, this is a great deal, we believe this is a really, good offer. And if they don't, they have to live with that decision. And now it's going to go to a judge. So it's important that we're helping them along the way so that they can feel empowered and have, receive some education and understanding of the process, so they're making better decisions is of course our hope and goal.
Mm. Heather, we've come to the end of the show. Is there anything else you want to add on this topic?
I don't know. We've covered it pretty well. I think that mainly, our goal, our desire is to help women through this process and to end up on the end of it stronger and wiser, and to feel as though they have won what they wanted to, so that they can then keep going forward and win at life. And if anybody is thinking about this process or knows somebody who is going through a divorce, I definitely encourage them to not only listen but reach out to our office, because we are here to help them.
And that's where that other website comes in that I mentioned earlier. Oh, I
That
tell
is
you.
right. That is
Yeah.
right. They can reach us at Florida Women's Law Group. And of course, listen to our podcast on women winning divorce.
Thank you so much, Heather. We are a team. It was so nice to see you again today.
Thank you, Julie. As always, a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you for listening to Women Winning Divorce. We hope you found information to help you navigate your divorce. If you like our show, please take the time to subscribe and provide a 5-star review. If you need more information, please visit our website at womenwinningdivorce.com, where you will find previous episodes and other helpful content. Join us next week as we continue our journey of women winning divorce.
At Firehouse Subs, a portion of every purchase helps provide life-saving equipment to first responders. We make our subs differently because our subs can make a difference every day. That's why we're bringing back our daily medium sub special. Enjoy a different handcrafted medium sub at a special price for every day of the week. From Meatball Monday to Italian Sunday. Get it for a limited time, only at Firehouse Subs. Tap the banner now to start your pickup order.